Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Inspire Views series. My name is Cherrise Boucher, and I am a transformational life mentor and energy healer. And I'm here with another guest today. And in case this is the first interview you've watched, I'll just fill you in a little bit on why I created this series. It's really just because I wanted to connect with people who are following their passion, because I feel it's so important to incorporate something that you love to do, something that speaks to your heart and something that you're passionate about into your life, even if it's a 1 day a week thing, because it changes you on so many levels. So all the women I've been talking to and introducing you to in this series have done just that and incorporated what they're passionate about into their lives. And they're all just like you. We've all got the same little gremlins that tell us we can't do things and everything. So I love it when they share tips on how they get past that, so that it can encourage all the rest of us to do that too, because it happens to everybody. And their stories are just so inspiring to me. And I hope to all of you, because it kind of gives me a kick in the ass myself. So I'm so glad that you are here and you're joining us on this journey to nurture the spark that feeds the fire of your passion. Today, I am super honored to introduce you to Christine Schnell. Christine has uncovered her passion by combining her master's in science for business administration along with her years of working in the IT environment to help her clients clarify their core message and uncover their ideal clients. She translates all that scary tech mumbo jumbo into something that they can understand with ease, whether it's maintaining a website, creating kick-ass content, or streamlining social media. She's got you covered. In her personal life, she gets through every day with yoga and meditation that keeps her sane, and chocolate is her mecca. Who doesn't love that, right? So I am thrilled to introduce you to Christine. Hi, Christine.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for agreeing to do this interview, because I usually speak with all my guests before we do the actual interview, so that we can introduce each other, get to know each other a little bit before we jump into an interview. So, and then it's more like talking with friends when you do the interview part. So Christine's got a great story that you'll hear, and you'll see how really nothing that we've ever learned is lost in what we end up feeling passionate about. So I guess we will jump in and just tell us, I guess, a little bit about what you're doing now and how you got to here and what you're doing.
Okay, so I suppose now I'm actually helping people that are, have so many great talents. So specifically, I work with a lot of people in the kind of holistic area and, who really have massive talents, but are just not really good in the tech side of things, or, self-promotion. So now I help them get over their tech fears and, empower them to really get comfortable with, managing their website or their social media, or all these different things. But also I kind of, if they want to, obviously I do it for them, but my passion is really empowering especially women to really go out there and do what they love and really live their dream. And if I can help on the way to get them there, then I'm truly happy about that. So I suppose how I got here was I studied business. Like, I have an MBA in business, but even then, when I studied it, I didn't actually want to do it. So I got into doing my business degree out of, I don't really know what I want to do. So
pick something,
I'll just study business. Yeah, so it was, I aced everything, and I was pretty good in what I was doing. But somehow, it didn't really hit my passion, kind of. I ended up going into IT just purely because I'm originally from Germany. So I studied in Ireland for a year and decided, okay, you know, I'm going to go back there. So I moved back to Ireland after I finished my degree. I had no job. I had, you know, temporary accommodation in my old student housing. And I went on to, you know, job hunting. And I was so discouraged by everyone, because everyone said to me, because you see, I used my studying time to travel. Okay, so every single vacation time that I've had, I made sure I got out of Germany and did traveling. So I didn't fit, you know, too many internships in, and I, you know, didn't think much of it at the time. But then once I started looking for a job, everyone told me you have no chance of getting a job. Okay, so luckily somehow I got, after about, I think 6 weeks, I got a job in a small Irish IT company, where I really learned kind of the basics of how to do marketing, because I ended up doing pretty much all of it. And my manager, she was only there 2 days a week, so, you know, but I hated it. I hated it so badly. It's just really, you know, I was like, I was stressed out. I didn't, you know, it was horrible. So, and actually my boss at the time suggested, why don't you go into yoga? Because I was literally in tears every single day, and I just couldn't deal with it. I just, you know, didn't know what to do. So that's kind of when my yoga journey started, and I started to get into it. And I knew from the start when I started that's something, you know, I found something that I'm really passionate about and I'm going to go into. So I did my teacher training. I was made redundant from that job, which was a blessing in disguise, because I ended up, you know, within 5 days getting a different job, equally, well, sucky, but you know, I had a lot of freedom in it, because it was a small company again, and they didn't care whether or not I was in the office or not, or, you know, I was able to go on yoga travels. So like every year I go on retreats for a month, and, you know, I was able to work from there. So that's kind of when my two kind of passions started out. And over time I realized, okay, I actually, you know, do enjoy teaching. So I did my teacher training and yoga, and, you know, I do still teach. But over time, being in that circle, I ended up meeting so many people who have really amazing skills, but didn't know what to do with their marketing. So I ended up helping them for free, you know, because that's, you know, that's kind of how I operate. I love to give, I love to help.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is another challenge now that I'm full-time and my own boss, because I can't do that, you know.
Right.
But, you know, so that's kind of when the kind of the starting point, that was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And I did have a quick stint in a big corporation, because I still wasn't quite happy, and deep down I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to be my own boss, but I didn't have the guts to do it.
Right.
So I quit my job and went on to work for a big IT corporation. Well, I lasted about 3 to 4 months. That was it. Like, I couldn't handle it. So what I did though after that was I went part-time. Okay, I went part-time back to my old job, because they didn't want to let me go in the first place, because they knew how valuable I was. But at the same time, I didn't want to go full-time. And that's when I started to really go into developing my own business. You know, I started working part-time. That gave me security, and kind of said, okay, I can pay my bills, I can develop my business on the side, and really have the freedom of having a couple of days a week where I can just concentrate on that. And I think for me, that was the key to eventually being able to make the jump to full-time.
Right.
Because, and I do recommend that for anyone thinking about getting into business and stuff like that. If you're a security person, if you need the security, you know, don't quit your job from like today, like, you know, don't, because you'll end up being so miserable and so stressed out with the fact that all of a sudden you have to maintain, you know, your own income and, you know, be responsible for all that. And it's a big responsibility. So I think the kind of steps of going part-time with a different job, even if it's, you know, like working in a cafe, or do something that doesn't require a lot of brain power.
Right.
Because that, that really opens up your space, your headspace to really go out and do your own thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's really how I kind of, started out. And when I started out last year full time, I didn't really have a clue. I got clients by referral. And thankfully to Ireland, that is a good way to do it, because Ireland's very small, and everybody knows everyone, and you get recommended. So that's how I've gotten my kind of client base initially. But what I really noticed is that there were a couple of people that I really don't gel with. It was a pain to work with. So I've done an awful lot of work on my own business, because up until that point, I hadn't done that. It was always the others, and I've never looked at my own business. So yeah, and that's where I'm now. I'm starting to work with amazing people, women all around the world, to empower them. And yeah, it's great.
That's awesome, because I do think, and I've heard a lot, that people who lean more towards or have businesses in things, energy work or yoga or even coaching, especially women, want to give everything away, but they have a hard time nailing down how to feel good about the marketing side, or how to express what they offer, I guess, in a genuine way that doesn't feel salesy or icky on some level to them. You know what I mean? I assume you probably encounter that.
Yeah, I actually encounter that a lot. And, it's something I had to work on for myself as well, because there's a lot of self-worth connected to that as well. And kind of, why am I good enough to bring that message out to the other people, Right. So there is an awful lot of internal work that has to go on in order to do that. But, I think when it comes to marketing, look after your clients, really give them value. And you don't have to then do big kind of marketing campaigns that are sleazy. As long as you build the trust and build, your field of expertise, then, the marketing comes all by itself.
Right. And I love how you hadn't really even, it wasn't your intention to do what you do now. It kind of morphed itself into the business that you have, but using all the skills that you cultivated in previous jobs to get to this point. So I guess what I'm asking or getting around to is, do you see that happens a lot? I've been seeing that kind of happens a lot, and maybe people feel a little, I think it's the case for me too. You don't really recognize your own skills until somebody else maybe points them out to you. So there's a confidence level in incorporating things that you already know how to do into your own business. But you've done that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, to be honest, I think what happens is we're so used to, from our parents and stuff, seeing that, you're supposed to have one job and one job only, and you're supposed to stay in that for the rest of your life. But I don't actually think that's, the future. I think that, we're destined to have lots of different kind of areas that we're going to work in. And then eventually all that leads us to our main purpose, and really figure out, okay, this is what I'm good at. And, you might be doing a couple of things that, you're never going to use again, but you're still going to learn valuable skills in that. And you still, eventually, all this leads into your passion. And, that's a path I think everyone has to go. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't go on that path because they're too scared and they're too security driven. And, don't get me wrong, I'm, security driven. I get panic attacks every now and then to kind of, deal with things, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So whenever I kind of come to the stage of, damn, is it really worth it? Is it really worth doing this?
Right.
And then I come back to thinking, yeah, it is. It actually truly is. I wouldn't change anything you know, even if it's like, it is hard, you know, don't get me wrong, running your own business is hard and there's an awful lot of competition out there. But I do believe that everyone has that unique point of view or, you know, skills that somebody out there needs. I really do believe that.
And people really connect with people, you know. I know personally, I do that, you know. Sometimes you'll see somebody, you know, say you see 2 resumes or 2 websites or something side by side, and this one's listing all this technical skills and certifications and everything, and you talk to them, or, you know, if you Skype with them, it's even to me, I even get a better feeling for it. That's why I like doing the video series instead of just a teleseries, because you connect so much more with people. But I would, if I connected with somebody and I liked his or her personality more, I would choose them probably, just because you feel like what you're going to accomplish together would really gel. So I don't think it's not even so much competition. I think if you're really genuine and authentic with how you express yourself and how you put yourself out there, that connection to those right people just happens naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I actually have an example to exactly what you've just been talking about. I've recently worked with a mentor, and, you know, I've kind of been looking for one, and initially I was in this group, and, you know, I actually was offered free mentoring, and I was like, oh, great, you know, free, okay, I'll go with that. And we've had one single call, and I was just like, this is not going to work. It was like, you know, we're on different planets, and collaboration would have never ever worked. So I ended up going to the one that I actually really wanted to go to in the first place.
Right.
And you know, what I've achieved ever since has been transformational. You know, so definitely personality is, you know, you connect with people. And that's kind of what I'm trying to bring across with all my clients, to kind of make them see, you know, because I get a lot of people when they want a website, it's like, oh yeah, I just want some text on there and, you know, some images, and, you know, I don't really want to bring myself, and trying to bring that across, that it's so vital to bring you in, you know, is quite hard.
Yeah, it really is, because in this age that we're in, with the technology and the ability to connect with people from all over the world, like literally, you know, I think that personal relationship that you can gain with people is so valuable, because it's very different. And I think probably, I'm say this as an aside because it popped in my head, I'm going to be 46 this year. So even I struggle sometimes with the online social stuff and certain technology things. But I think people who are even from the generation ahead of me, my parents, or that in-between stage, find it more difficult. They want to just read something, see what their skills are, see what they qualify as, see what their certifications are, whatever, and go by that. So there's still a little bit of that gap, I think, out there between the younger and the older, and then the in-between people in accepting and being real personal in how you communicate online.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think that's true. However, actually, I do have to say, I have actually clients from any age range. So like, I have, you know, 20-year-olds, but I have, you know, like mid-50s as well. So, yeah. You know, I think yes, I do take a little bit of a different approach when it comes to, obviously, you know, someone who is complete technophobe and, like, you know, doesn't even right. want to use Facebook and stuff like that. I mean, I've gotten people to do that, you know, just to kind of slowly. And I do like think that a lot of people think you have to do everything. When it comes to social media, you have to be in every single social media network there is. And I personally don't believe that, because I think you connect with different channels. So if, say, video is difficult for you, you know, you're not going to be good on video. You're not going to come across well on video. So right. I don't recommend doing that. at least not now. So I kind of always say, master one piece, master Facebook or master Instagram or whatever it is, build your reputation there and then go to the next one, because there's no way, to be successful if you do anything half-heartedly.
Right.
And you're going to get so overwhelmed. And that's kind of one thing I see a lot, that people are so overwhelmed with that stuff that, because everyone reads, oh, you have to do, you have to do everything.
Right.
And I might not make myself friends here with other people that are in the industry, but I do believe that, you have to stay with your comfort zone and, slowly push comfort zones out, but not, so you're going into overwhelm, and because you're not going to manage anything.
Right.
And that's kind of how I approach things, and especially with people that are very averse to social media and stuff like that,
Yeah, I agree, because it can be super overwhelming, like Periscope came out and then everybody's Periscoping. Oh, you have to Periscope. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even, what would I even say? I have no idea. Like some people are naturally really good at it, and all the different social media can be so overwhelming to think of, everybody's like, oh, you have to do Instagram. Everybody's Pinterest. And I'm not on Pinterest. I'm not on Instagram. I feel like Facebook is enough, and Twitter, I throw some stuff out there, because it is stressful when you think about that. I assume, how do you like guide people in that sort of like small bites, like to make a schedule or?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. So I kind of try to figure, like, that's why I do try to even, meet people, even virtually, like even per Skype and stuff like that, because like you said, the personal connection is very important to really figure out how they're working. Okay, so how do they learn? And that's usually the best way for them to kind of start out. So if you're, comfortable with writing and comfortable in written format, start doing things like that. Start on those media channels where, start on Facebook and start slowly, like go slowly. I mean, you don't have to build Rome in a day, just start bit by bit. So like, start one post, a week, and then, kind of get comfortable and see, what works and what doesn't. And then eventually kind of get into your, creating a schedule of, okay, I want to, bit more organized, but until they get more comfortable with the medium itself, I take very slow and kind of say, start just posting, or just start commenting in groups, be a little bit active and build your reputation from that point of view, and that's kind of how I did it as well, to kind of really just, in a couple of groups, really be present and help people out. And people will see then, you will become that go-to person for people in that group to kind of, it's like, oh, I have a tech blog. Like, they will ask you eventually. Okay, so yeah, just be of service and, start slowly. And then if you feel more comfortable, I've started slowly now go into audio, so I'm actually starting to do my blog posts in audio rather than written, and so you just move along, just, very, very slowly and, chunk by chunk.
Yeah. One of my other guests, Karen Hager, and she's in a group that we're both in together. She does that too. Her newsletters are primarily, she calls them audio musings, I think. And she does that, and I love it because she does a radio show. So to her, doing it as an audio newsletter, kind of, there's a little bit of copy in there to tell you what it's going to be about, but then you just click over to the audio, and it's not very long, so it's totally doable to sit there. And she's always got great little insights and everything. I love it. So it is important. Not a lot of people do it that way, but I think if that's what you're comfortable with or you feel like experimenting with, there's so many options out there. So I think people should not feel limited that they have to do what they perceive everybody else is doing.
No, exactly. Because it will actually, you will connect with your audience a lot better, because most likely if you're comfortable with one, social media aspect of it, your clients, your ideal clients, most likely are the same. So,
Right.
you know, if you're an audio person, most likely your clients will learn best doing audio, you know. So it's kind of, you know, be intuitive and be, you know, yes, go out of your comfort zone and start doing little different things. But, you know deep down in your gut what is important and what works for you.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's
And I work
important to
very much
follow.
like that.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned a little bit about how, you know, some days, and we all have those days, like, what the hell am I doing? You know, I should just go out and get a regular job or something, you know, a real job that like moms would say. Um, so I'm sure you felt afraid or doubtful about your decision to go it alone in your own business and be your own boss. So if you felt like throwing in the towel and ditching the dream, and then you did mention that you just kind of talked yourself back through it, but are there any other things that you do when you really get in that mucky part?
Do you know what? I think having people surrounding you that are in the same space is very, very important. So, like, for example, I have a couple of Facebook groups that I really would not have made it so far without them, because I find that, you know, your partner or your friends around you, they don't understand what it's like.
Right.
You know, if they're not running their own business, they do not know what it's like to, you know, do the hustle every single day and be present and stuff like that. So I found that the number one thing that really kind of got me through it, and, you know, be brave enough as well to kind of shout out and kind of say, you know what, I'm having a shit day, you know.
Yeah.
I really, you know, need help. And I found that having a group of people that are surrounding you, even if it's virtual, you know, I mean, they don't have to be live, but having that support is absolutely the best thing that, you know, I have experienced, and it's the best thing you can do. Because you always think when you're working behind in your little laptop and on your own and somewhere in a cafe or at home, you're on your own, but you're actually not. You know, there's hundreds and thousands of women out there, and it's getting more and more that are going through the same thing. So Women's Circle, you know, I know it sounds woo-woo, but, you know, it's really the best thing that I've come across that really helps me through the tough times. And, you know, I don't actually think you ever get past that. Like, you will always have days when you just want to give up, but it just means that you're reaching your next limit. You know, you're reaching your next limit that you need to kind of get over. And, you know, then for a while it kind of tickles along nicely, and then you're going to reach your next upper limit. So I don't think it ever stops, you know. And and working with a mentor as well, I have to say that kind of has really helped me make sense and get the cheering on, you know. I mean, investing in yourself is so important, even though we always kind of say, oh, I can't afford that. But you know what? The money always comes somehow. I found.
Me too. I agree.
So these are probably the things that help me the most.
Yeah. Great points. And it's true. You think you're alone, like you said, in a cafe or home, but there are hundreds of thousands of other women at cafes or at home doing the exact same thing you're doing at that moment. So you're right. I mean, in the luxury that we have of the internet, it's so doable to connect with those like-minded souls that are going through the same thing you're going through. And I've found that too in those groups, or even if you want to do it live, you know, you find a meetup group. Do you have Meetup over there?
Yeah, we do actually.
Or
exactly.
create your own, you know, and that draws those people in, so you can get the, you know, personal in the same space kind of connections with those people too.
And actually, it's really nice. I actually will meet a couple of the people that I've met online actually now towards the end of the year in real life, because we're actually going to be at like an event, a lot of us, and, you know, we're going to do like a little Christmas party for people that don't have a Christmas party. So, you know, it's really nice to kind of meet those people in real life as well, you know. So,
oh, that's a great idea, because, you know, like, so corporate has Christmas parties, and could have a Christmas party for all the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and that's, you know, kind of one of the groups that I'm in, located in Ireland. They do that. So, you know, I'm delighted to be going to that. So, yeah, and you connect again with other people, and, you know, you network again, but it doesn't feel the, you know, corporate-y kind of networking kind of thing, because I'm not really good at that. I'm an introvert. I don't, you know, I don't do networking well, you know, so, but that's really nice to kind of, you know, put faces to the people that you feel like you know.
Yeah, in person. I think that's awesome. It's absolutely, it's important to have connections either way. And I think that's encouraging for like people who are watching this series, who are thinking, oh, they really want to break out and do their own thing, even if it's really small at first, you know, totally part-time, to know that no matter what, there's groups of people out there that can help cheer them on and support them, even if it's not the one-on-one. But I can totally agree with you that having a mentor and investing in yourself on that level is, you get so much further along than you would otherwise, because they really kick your ass sometimes, you know. And you bust through that. I have to say that there are still some things I've not busted through, but I definitely wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't have that kind of more personal support.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that's the beauty of it as well. Like, I mean, you know, I didn't have one-to-ones in the sense of personal with my mentor. I mean, she was in England, you know, I'm at the moment in Copenhagen and usually in Ireland. So that's the beauty of our generation, that we really, you know, we can connect with anyone.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter where they are. They might be in Bali, they might be in India, you know, it doesn't matter, and it's still possible. And the connections are the same.
Yeah, they really are. That's so awesome. How have you found that now that you do this, doing what you're passionate about and helping other people with those sticky techie things and such, and expressing what they do? So how have you felt that living your passion? How have you felt? How has it affected your life personally? I know I can get this out here. Like, have you noticed any personal changes in you and health, or just your peace of mind, or anything on those levels?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've kind of, health-wise, I've kind of had a kind of difficult life in the sense of that, but it kind of made me look at things differently, and it really kind of helped me to kind of narrow down the days that I wasn't feeling well, you know, to take them out and kind of say, okay, today is not a good day. You know, I can only do whatever, 2-3 hours of work, but that's fine. And having that luxury, you know, is something that is invaluable for me, because I wouldn't be able to run my business if I had to literally go to the office every morning at like 9 o'clock until like whatever, 5-6 o'clock in the evening. I don't work that way, in a sense. Like, don't get me wrong, I work an awful lot, but I do have days when I, you know, kind of say, do you know what? Can't do it. Can't work today. So, you know, unless I have like really important client meetings and stuff, then I take that time. And I, you know, that has kind of obviously affected my personal life, in the sense, okay, I might have to work on a Sunday, you know, if I kind of have a day out during the week, and I kind of say, okay, that's fine. And my partner, thankfully, is supportive enough that he kind of says, okay, well, then we'll just do something on the Saturday. So, you know, having that freedom has given me an awful lot of breathing space to listen to myself and my body, and, you know, look after myself.
Yeah, self-care, that self-care thing.
Yes. It's hard, but, you know, I think you really need to start tuning into that. And because if you're not feeling well, you can't do the best for your clients, you know? So if you take out even half a day, well, you will be able to do a lot better work once you've done that and once you've looked after yourself. But I know that's a huge step, and for me that still is a huge step to kind of sometimes just kind of, because there's always that nagging voice because you don't have a boss anymore who kind of says, you do that. But it's in you all the time. You kind of have that constant nagging voice in the back of your mind saying, oh, but you need to do this, and you need to do this, and this has to be done. And, managing that is quite hard. But I think once you find a little balance, you will find a lot more freedom in yourself and, your mind and soul, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny because I do that too. I've got a hammock that I hang up outside, and there's like a little lake here in the neighborhood. And some days I'll sit out there because I really love to sit out there, but I'm like, I should be like working on the newsletter. I should be creating something. Or it's hard to shut that off if you've got your own business, and to really, and even though we know it, I think we're still like, it's really hard to shut that off and just take the time.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes I don't manage that, but that's fine too. I'll get the bill for that later on because I'm, looking back at the stuff that I did and I was like, oh, that wasn't really great. So, maybe I should have taken time off.
Right. Exactly.
I do find that having that freedom of taking even just an hour out in the middle of the day to kind of just go outside and have a cup of coffee somewhere, meet a friend. And thankfully I have in my life in Ireland, I have a lot of entrepreneurial friends as well. So it is actually really easy for me to kind of just pop into the city and kind of say, hey, you're around for a coffee? Let's meet for a coffee, So that, has benefited my life immensely. And I feel like I've started to arrive where I'm supposed to be. And I'm no longer looking, where I want to go. Because I've looked ever since I studied. I mean, I only studied that because I was like, don't know what else to do, and that was back in Germany. That was kind of the thing to do. You're like, okay, well, let's just study business administration and, everything that comes with it. The whole, financial aspect, the bookkeeping and business law and all that kind of stuff was so boring. I can't even tell you, but it's gotten me to where I am now. And now looking back, I'm like, well, it was useful, and I probably was supposed to go that way. So, but now I finally arrived to making it my own and really connecting with, this is how I can help other people. And I think that kind of is part of my personality as well, that I do want to help people. You don't go into yoga teaching for the money. You really don't, but I've gone into it because I see what benefit it gives people, and bringing that into my other business is very important to me, because I think it shows. I do think it just shows in my work and how I work with people. So
yeah, the balance and the techniques that you learn in yoga. I've dabbled in it a little bit, and it is lovely, actually. Probably one of those things that I'll have to delve back into again in the future more seriously. Except those, like, all that flow stuff, that's exhausting.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the one type of yoga that everyone thinks, oh, it's just sitting and doing nothing. But actually, there are different types of yogas that they really kick your butt.
Yeah, that I'm not into. I prefer the stretching and a slower thing, because then you feel good when you leave. I don't want to be all sweaty and
Yeah, no, I hear you. But you can do the same. Like, you can still be present and you can still be all these kind of things in a faster class as well. But that takes practice.
You should have seen me in one of those classes. Not a crazy fast class. It was sort of an intermediate, just a step above probably beginner. And I was just like, what the hell? What is that? Like, trying to figure out how to make my body do what like the instructor was doing. I'm like, I don't even understand this.
But actually, funnily enough, you can actually bring that back into your, you know, that kind of feeling. You can bring that back into your business as well, because that's what it's all about. Connecting with your inner, you know, who am I? What am I? You know, who am I in in my body, and you know, connecting to that, you know, and that, I find yoga helps me kind of get to that grounded place where I can really, you know, work from, be it for my yoga or be it in my life and stuff like that. So stick with it. It will make a difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll have to. I'll definitely have to go. It'd probably be entertaining to videotape that, because I'm sure, especially with one of my friends, because she's hilarious, and she's the one who actually got me to go to these classes, and she was just cracking me up in those things. So it might be more of an entertainment value there than relaxation. I don't know. Well, I definitely want to tell people, I'll let you tell people, you've got a free gift that people can go ahead and grab, that you're offering. So, and it will be on my website. If people are watching this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, then hop over to my website to get everybody's free gift and find out a little more in their bios, because I don't have that necessarily all included there on the YouTube channel, but it's on CherriseBoucher.com in the Inspire View series tab. There's part 1 and part 2. So Christine, go ahead and share what your offer is.
Okay, so I've actually created a nice, you know, guide for creating the ultimate sales page, because sales pages are, you know, the new, you know, the new hype, and you kind of, when you're trying to sell something online, you know, you do really need a sales page. But a lot of people, I see a lot of people trying to use their landing pages as sales pages as a homepage. And that really is not what they're meant to be, you know. And so I've created a complete guide with examples and things to really nail your sales page, and really kind of go down to the level of, this is what you need to be talking about. You know, this is what you want to bring across in that sales page. And I kind of have a couple of examples in there as well, of like a good one and a bad one, and you know, so yeah, so it's, you know, your guide to really creating a sales page that works.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm totally going to do that, because I think we get stuck on exactly that. And then, of course, if people want more help, they can just connect with you. So
yes. And more than happy to.
Yeah, and I assume there's a connect thing on your website. So what is your website?
My website is called velocitymarketing.ie. So velocity is actually the funny thing about the name, because my name in German means fast. So like velocity is a little spiel on that, because it's obviously velocity in the sense of, you know, moving parts and stuff like that. So
awesome. That's neat. People get stuck on naming websites or programs too. I know they do. I know I was trying to think of something creative. I ended up just going with my name. So
Funnily enough, though, I will be changing that by early next year, because I'm getting married, and I actually do want to go away from using that name and just use my own name, because, you know, it's just a little bit easier, I think, for people to remember.
Yeah, so. True. And people can always, like, you can link your sites and things. So
exactly.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they thought they'd have to ditch everything that they already have if they wanted to change their brand, like to just their name. And we're like, yeah, you don't have to like let go of everything you've already created just to do that. So yeah, very cool.
So, thank you.
Well, awesome gift. And again, everybody can just go to CherriseBoucher.com, and there'll be a direct little link that'll go right to Christine's website. So you can grab her gift and connect with her there if you like, because it sounds like she's got some like crazy, super helpful stuff, especially for the holistic world where we don't like to promote ourselves.
Not just for them, but yeah.
Right.
I I am, heart-centered and stuff like that. So I do, that's kind of my expertise, and that's why I am at. So yeah, you'll find definitely something there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and we will definitely
Thank
chat
you for
again
having me.
soon.
Thank you.
I gotta find my thing. Okay, hold on.